On the morning of my wedding, my fiancé's uncle killed himself. Before he died, he left a will. Every dollar, every property, every stock. Everything went to me. No explanations, no goodbye, just a neat signature at the bottom and one line written in his hand. If I can't be the one who makes you happy, then I'll make sure you never have to worry again. That was how I learned he'd been in love with me, quietly, hopelessly, all those years. I never even noticed. And then I was reborn, same life, same people. Only this time I was back before the wedding. The first thing I did was kneel in front of my parents in our living room. "Mom, Dad," I said steadily. "About the family arrangement with the Harrisons, I want to marry William." My mother froze mid-sip of coffee. "Wait, William," she stammered. "Honey, isn't he Alex's uncle? You've been with Alex for years." Everyone in town knew I'd chased Alex since middle school. The golden boy, the quarterback, the one I swore I'd marry. I spent 10 years orbiting him like he was the sun. And in my last life, I actually did marry him. I thought he was shy on our wedding night when he didn't touch me. Then weeks passed, months. He kept his distance, sleeping in the guest room. I made excuses for him. Told myself he had some kind of illness, that love meant patience. Until the night, I opened the door to his locked study. Hundreds of photos lined the wall. Every single one was of my cousin, Jane. That was when I finally understood. He wasn't broken, he just didn't love me. So in this new life, I decided to give them what they wanted, each other. And when I walked down the aisle in white toward his uncle, Alex's face turned white as a sheet. For the first time, the man who'd never cared about me lost control completely. 3 days after the engagement was announced, I saw Alex again at a party. He was leaning against the bar, surrounded by his usual crew. The moment they spotted me, grins spread like wildfire. "Bro, your little shadow, here again," one of them laughed. "Didn't she already lock down your family name? Guess old habits die hard." Alex's smirk vanished the second his gaze met mine. "Evelyn, do you seriously have no shame?" he snapped. "You agreed to the engagement without even talking to me. Now everyone thinks you're marrying into my family. Unbelievable." His disgust stung, but I didn't flinch. "I didn't need your permission," I said quietly. He frowned. "What's that supposed to mean?" "Because I'm not marrying you." The laughter around us died for half a beat, then burst again, louder this time. "Come on, Alex," one of his friends said between chuckles. "She's just trying to mess with you." Alex stepped closer, voice dropping low. "Still playing games, huh? Who else could you possibly marry, Eve? Everyone knows you've been obsessed with me since you could walk." He leaned in, tone cruelly soft. "Fine, I'll give you your big wedding if that's what you want, but the marriage license, that belongs to the woman I actually want." In my past life, this was the point where he'd said nothing, just gone along with the family's decision, but now he was fighting it. Which meant only one thing: he was reborn too. Before I could read more in his face, Jane appeared at the doorway, eyes wet. "Eve, Alex," she whispered. "I heard you're getting married soon. I didn't bring a gift, but I wish you both happiness." Then she turned and ran, crying into her hands. Alex glared at me. "See what you did." And without another word, he chased after her. When they came back, they were holding hands. Jane's lips were swollen. A dark bruise bloomed on Alex's neck. The room filled with awkward amusement. Everyone watched me, waiting for the meltdown they remembered from before. Because the old Evelyn would have screamed, cried, begged. But not this time. I simply sat down on the couch, poured myself a drink, and watched them. Alex hesitated, then sneered. "Guess you've finally learned to behave." When the party ended, he offered to drive me home. "It's late," he said. "I'll take you." I didn't argue, I just followed him out. But when I reached for the front passenger seat, he blocked me with his arm, opening the door for Jane instead. "You sit in the back," he told me, as if I were a child. Jane smiled apologetically. "Sorry, Eve, Alex just worries I might get carsick." I said nothing and slid into the back seat. The ride was silent, except for their laughter. At one red light, Jane pouted. My lips are so dry, she murmured. Alex chuckled and reached into the console for her lip balm. Their faces leaned closer, closer, until I could almost feel the tension in the air between them. Then he glanced in the rearview mirror. I was staring out the window, expression calm, unreadable. He jerked the car forward, jaw tight. When we reached my place, I opened the door, but he grabbed my wrist and shoved a small box into my hand. "Stop pretending you don't care," he said, voice dripping with condescension. "It's pathetic. Consider this your engagement gift, play nice, and I'll make the wedding grand. At least everyone will think you're my wife." I met his eyes, and the woman you'll actually marry is that Jane. His face twisted, a mix of anger and guilty satisfaction. "So you are faking it. Don't you dare tell our parents anything. Jane isn't like you. She's gentle, pure, don't hurt her, or I'll cancel everything." I smiled faintly. "You should have done that already." Then I walked away. That night, a message notification popped up on my phone, a video. Jane, in soft lighting, wearing a diamond necklace. Alex was behind her, clasping it around her neck. I recognized it, the same jewelry line as the bracelet he'd just forced into my hand. The necklace was the main piece, the bracelet, a free bonus. They kissed, slow and practiced, like they'd done it 100 times. 2 voice messages followed. "Eve, Alex probably told you, right? After your wedding, he's going to register with me. You know, marriages without a legal license don't come with inheritance rights. Guess it's finally my turn to be the rich Mrs. Harrison." I stared at the screen, so she remembered too. No wonder they'd moved so fast this time. In the last life, their affair had been hidden, slow-burning, full of secrecy. This time, they didn't even bother pretending. I leaned back against the bed, exhaling slowly in my previous life. After I married into the Harrison family, their company had skyrocketed, contracts poured in. Everyone said I was their good luck charm. They adored me. And I thought I was happy, until I found those photos. That night, Mom knocked on my door. "Sweetheart," she said softly. "William's flying back from London in 5 days." I paused. In my past life, he'd never married anyone. He'd stayed single forever. But now, our engagement was moving forward. I remembered him as calm, elegant, kind, the only man who'd ever looked at me without judgment. Marrying him, I thought, might finally feel like peace. I got to my studio early the next morning to fix a few details on my wedding dress. I'd started designing it back in college, when I was majoring in fashion design. Back then, everything I made was for him. For Alex Harrison, every fabric, every line, every pattern had to match his taste. He never let me use the designs I actually loved. But this time was different. This time, I was finally wearing the wedding dress designed by me and for me. Just when I'd finished the last round of adjustments and stepped out to grab some coffee, my phone buzzed. A new post popped up on my feed, and my blood ran cold. Jane. She was wearing my wedding dress. No, worse, she had chopped it short into a skimpy cocktail dress, the lace ripped, the hem uneven, and in the video, she was dancing with Alex. Her caption read, "Alex knew I didn't have anything to wear tonight, so he brought me this. Being spoiled feels amazing." My vision blurred for a second. Then I grabbed my keys and drove straight to the 5th floor ballroom where the event was happening. The music was loud, the lights blinding, and there they were in the middle of the dance floor. I didn't hesitate. "This is my wedding dress," I snapped. "Who gave you the right to take it and destroy it like that?" Jane froze for a beat before turning, her eyes already glistening with fake tears. "Alex," she whimpered, "did I do something wrong? Why is Eve yelling at me like that?" Alex immediately pulled her behind him like some fragile doll. "Eveline, it's just a dress. You'll be wearing it for me anyway. What's the big deal if she borrows it for fun? And I never liked this design anyway. Just make a new one and stop using this as an excuse to make a scene." I stared at him in disbelief. "Who told you it was for you? I designed it for my wedding." He smirked, shaking his head. "Don't start again. Eve, your wedding is our wedding. I agreed to marry you, didn't I?" Stop pretending otherwise. My hand landed on the scissors lying on a nearby table before I even thought about it. I walked right up to Jane, who shrank back, and with one swift motion, sliced the bottom hem of the dress. "Alex," I said quietly, "if you're so sure everything belongs to you, then watch closely. I don't keep what's dirty, and I don't keep the people who are." For once, Alex didn't know what to say. He just stared, speechless. Jane gasped, clutching her thigh. "Alex, I think she cut me. It hurts. But I'm fine. Please don't be mad at her. It's my fault." Alex's hesitation lasted only a second before his expression hardened. Don't give her any sympathy. Maybe a jealous woman like her needs a lesson to remind her of her place. I looked down at the torn thread tangled in my hand and wiped a tear off my cheek. So much for my hard work. Still, seeing someone's true nature in exchange for one ruined dress. Maybe that was worth it. That night, I had to attend the Harrison family dinner, the official meeting with William, Alex's uncle. I fixed my makeup, put on a calm smile, and left with the gift I'd prepared for William. When I arrived at the estate, I happened to pull up right next to Alex's car. His expression shifted from guilty to smug the moment he saw the gift box. "You bought me a present." He reached for it. I quickly moved it behind my back. "It's not for you." He laughed under his breath, clearly amused. "You're still hung up on me, Eve. You can't help it, but I told you already. Jane gets the marriage license. You can have the ceremony. She'll be my legal wife. You'll get used to it. I'm doing this for your own good." Even after deciding to leave him, I hadn't realized just how disgustingly shameless he could be. I turned away, but he grabbed my arm again. "Listen," he said. "My uncle's joining us for dinner tonight. The family owes a lot to him, so be respectful. If anyone asks about the registration, say we've already done it. And after dinner, apologize to Jane about this afternoon. If you don't, I can cancel the wedding anytime I want." He said it like a warning, then strolled inside ahead of me, acting like the master of the house. I sighed, let him have his little delusion. He'd learned soon enough who I was actually marrying. When I entered the dining room, Alexander wasn't there yet. The elders were already seated. I sat away from Alex, leaving an open chair next to me. Alex frowned, stood, and switched seats to sit beside me. "Quit the act," he muttered. "That seat's yours." I was about to say, "It's for your uncle," when the door opened. William Harrison walked in. It had been years since I'd last seen him. He is only 2 years older than Alex, but he looked much more like a real man, sharper, calmer, with the kind of quiet authority that filled a room even before he spoke. Everyone stood to greet him. Even Alex's father's voice softened when he said, "You're finally home, William." But William's gaze went straight to me and lingered. Then he noticed Alex sitting too close. Something dark flickered in his eyes. Before I could say a word, Alex's phone rang. He mumbled something about taking a call and hurried out. William crossed the room, his steps unhurried, and sat down right beside me. "Sorry to keep everyone waiting," he said, then glanced at my plate. "Go ahead and eat." He started peeling shrimp for me, calmly, methodically, as if it were the most natural thing in the world. I wanted to explain that this seat was supposed to be for him, not Alex, but he cut me off gently. "Eat first." He filled my plate with dishes I hadn't even told him I liked. By the time I looked down, shrimp shells beside his plate piled up. Then the door opened again. "Jane." "Good evening, everyone," she chirped. The temperature in the room dropped instantly. She wasn't officially recognized by the Harrisons, an illegitimate daughter from my mother's side. Most people in this circle barely tolerated her existence. Mr. Harrison's face darkened. "Alex, why did you bring an outsider to a family dinner?" Jane's eyes welled up. "I'm sorry, sir, I didn't mean to intrude." Alex immediately pulled her close. "Jane's Eveline's cousin. That makes her family too. Why shouldn't she be here?" The tension in the room tightened. Then Alex's gaze landed on the seat beside me, and his face froze. His uncle was sitting there, calm, collected, serving me food like it was nothing. Alex's smile evaporated. My phone buzzed under the table. What are you doing? You invited my uncle here just to piss me off. I flipped the phone face down and ignored it. Across the table, Alex glared at me hard enough to burn a hole through my head. Mr. Harrison raised his glass. Well, everyone knows about the big upcoming wedding. Tonight we'll finalize the registration and ceremony arrangements. Alex jumped in immediately. Don't worry, Dad. The license is almost ready. We've got everything under control, right, Eve? He looked at me, demanding my cooperation. I didn't even blink. I just lowered my eyes and stayed silent. His smile cracked. Another text came through. Say something, Eveline, if you keep this up. I'll cancel the wedding myself. Don't push me. I sighed and blocked him. When he realized it, disbelief and anger flashed across his face. Under the table, Alexander's hand brushed mine. Steady, reassuring, then in a calm voice he said, I'll respect Eveline's wishes. Whatever she decides, I'll support it. The warmth of his palm lingered long after. Alex forced a hollow laugh. Yeah, William's right. We've already talked about it. Everything's under control. The elders exchanged glances. Mr. Harrison's patience snapped. We're talking about your uncle's wedding, not yours. Don't interrupt. Alex blinked. Wait, uncle's getting married? That's great. Maybe we can have a double wedding. Enough, his father barked. You're not getting married. The wedding is for your uncle and Eveline. The room went still. Alex froze, the color draining from his face. Dad, who did you just say? Before anyone could answer, William laced his fingers through mine, lifted our hands onto the table, and looked him dead in the eye. The ones getting married, he said evenly, are Eveline and me. Alex shot to his feet. That's impossible. Sit down, Mr. Harrison thundered. You're embarrassing yourself. Alex dropped back into his chair, fists clenched, eyes burning holes through us. The rest of dinner blurred by. Wedding arrangements, guest lists, plans, all about me and William. And through it all, Alex didn't look away once. After dinner, I realized I'd left my coat behind. Alexander went back to get it. I was waiting in the hall when Alex appeared again, eyes red and wild. Tell me why, he said, grabbing my wrist. Why is your engagement with him? I pulled free. Why shouldn't it be? Don't do this, Eve, he snapped. You love me. You've always loved me. You can't marry someone else. I smiled faintly. You're right. I did love you, but not anymore. I'm tired, Alex. You love Jane, and I accept that, so please, let me go. Pain flickered across his face. No, you don't stop loving someone like that. You and I. He stopped, something unreadable flashing in his eyes, then softened his tone. Eve, you don't have to do this just to hurt me. I'll agree to whatever you want, Alex said, his tone low but steady. For the wedding, you can pick everything. The outfits, the decorations, the dress, buy whatever style you like. He paused, then added coldly. And even if Jane and I get the marriage license, I won't bring her to our home. She'll never set foot in the house you live in. Does that make you feel better? I stared at him, stunned. For the first time, I felt like I was seeing the man in front of me for who he really was. My own wedding should have always been about what I liked. Alex, I said quietly, let me make this clear one last time. The man I'm marrying is William. Don't you dare, he hissed. Try marrying him and see what happens. He reached for me suddenly, fingers digging into my wrist. But before he could pull me closer, I was yanked away, into a warm, steady embrace. William. He wrapped his coat around me, and without hesitation, clenched his fist and swung. His punch landed square on Alex's jaw. Who gave you the right to lay a hand on my fiancé? William's voice was sharp, commanding. Blood trickled from the corner of Alex's mouth. He wiped it away, smiling bitterly. Well, uncle, he sneered. Why don't you ask around? Everyone in the city knows she's been chasing after me since we were kids. You really want my leftovers. William's eyes darkened. His second punch came harder. Can't keep your mouth clean. Then I'll help my brother teach you some manners. He grabbed Alex by the collar. If you're tired of being a CEO, I can have someone replace you anytime. Now get the hell out of here. Alex staggered back. face twisted with anger and humiliation. William's knuckles were red and swelling. I couldn't stop myself from reaching for his hand. "Does it hurt?" I asked softly. For a brief second, hope flickered in Alex's eyes, until he realized I wasn't looking at him, I was looking at William. Whatever light was left in Alex's gaze died right there. He turned away, expression unreadable, and left without another word. Jane hurried out after him, trying to grab his arm. "Alex, wait for me." He didn't even look back. He just got in his car and drove off, leaving her standing there alone. I turned back to William, fussing over his hand. "I need to explain," I said quickly. "Yes, I used to love Alex, but we were never together, never even close, and I've never slept with him or kissed him, not once." William smiled gently, his tone soft but certain. "Relax, I don't believe a word that fool said. I trust you." I froze, heat rising to my face. Then he winced and lifted his injured hand with mock seriousness. "Though, my hand really does hurt. I probably can't drive or cook, not for a few days at least." I blinked, half amused. "Cook? Since when do you cook?" He gave me a boyish grin, completely ruining his usual cool demeanor. "Guess I'll need someone to take care of me till it heals." Somehow that side of him, playful, teasing, melted the last bit of tension inside me. I reached up and patted his head, mimicking the way he'd comforted me earlier. All right, I'll take care of you." William's smile deepened. "Then thank you, Mrs. Harrison." The next few days were unexpectedly peaceful. William and I fit together effortlessly. His calm steadied my fire. My warmth softened his edges. In a matter of days, it felt like we'd known each other for years, like two halves of the same soul that had finally found each other again. Only now did I realize how much of my past had been wasted on the wrong person. But peace never lasted long in my life. One afternoon, a message popped up from an old friend. "Congrats, Eve. You finally won Alex's heart after all these years. I heard the wedding soon. I can't wait to celebrate." For a moment, I just stared at it, confused. The Harrisons hadn't announced anything publicly yet. Only the family knew the official wedding date, which meant everyone still thought I was marrying Alex. I opened his blocked account out of curiosity. His profile picture, banner, and pinned post were all my photos. His bio read, "A love I can't speak, only hers forever." He was deliberately broadcasting it to our entire social circle, making it look like we were still together. I felt nothing, not even anger. In my past life, I'd begged him for a hint of affection in public. He refused every time. And now, when I'd finally stopped caring, he suddenly wanted to play the part of a devoted man. His love was as cheap and hollow as ever. Later that week, I was having lunch with my staff in the company cafeteria when Jane suddenly stormed in. Her eyes were red, wild. She pointed at me, shouting, "Evelyn, what the hell did you do to Alex? What kind of spell did you put on him? Why is he obsessed with you again? He told me he's canceling our registration. Why? Why do you always win?" Before I could react, she grabbed someone's tray, snatching up a bowl of hot soup and raising it above my head. "Go to hell, Evelyn. Just die already." The bowl tipped. But before the boiling liquid could touch me, a shadow moved fast. Someone stepped in front of me. Alex. He caught the full hit of the scalding soup across his back. Steam rose instantly, and the smell of burned fabric filled the air. He turned slightly, forcing a pained smile at me. "You okay?" I couldn't even speak. Then he faced Jane, his eyes ice cold. "You came here to hurt Evelyn. Are you insane?" He shoved her hard. She hit the floor with a crash. For a second, there was silence, until gasps broke out around us. A red liquid started spreading beneath her. "Oh my God," someone whispered. That's blood." Jane blinked in shock, then let out a dramatic wail. "Alex, you just killed our baby." Alex froze. His panic wasn't directed at her. It was directed at me. He spun toward me, hands raised. "Eve, listen to me. She's lying. That's not my child. It's not. She's been with other men, I swear." I jerked my arm away. "Stop it, Alex. Don't discuss me any more than you already have." I looked at the angry red marks on his arm where the soup had hit. "I'll pay for your medical bills, but don't talk to me again. I'm done listening." I turned and walked out. He called after me, but Jane grabbed onto his sleeve, sobbing and screaming. Not long after, Jane decided she had nothing left to lose. She spread the story everywhere. How she'd been pregnant with Alex's baby, how they were supposed to get married, how I'd ruined everything. The Harrisons summoned Alex home immediately. Behind closed doors, they punished him the old-fashioned way. Family discipline. The same back that had been burned now carried dozens of whip marks. They never publicly confirmed Jane's story. Outside, her name turned to mud overnight. Within days, the entire upper circle of the city was laughing about her accidental miscarriage and her mother's reputation as a longtime mistress. By the end of the week, Jane and her mother were completely cast out of our circle. And I finally breathed again. William noticed how the chaos with Alex and Jane had been weighing on me, so he cleared his schedule and took me everywhere. Long drives, quiet beaches, late-night cafes, anything to make me forget the noise. He worried I'd still be hurting, but I just leaned into his arms and whispered, "Not really sad, just, it feels like a waste to have loved something that empty for so long." He held me tighter and pressed a kiss to my forehead. "It's okay," he murmured. "You have me now. From here on, I'll fill every year of your life with happiness." On the night of my birthday, William rented out the entire rooftop garden restaurant downtown. I thought he was just planning a simple celebration. But then he took a deep breath, eyes full of quiet devotion. "Evelyn," he said, voice trembling slightly. "Our engagement started as a family arrangement, but tonight I want to ask you in my own name. Miss Evelyn Laurent, will you marry William Harrison?" Tears blurred my vision as I nodded hard. "Yes, William, yes." He slipped the ring onto my finger. His friends stepped out from their hiding spots, clapping and cheering. Under the stars, surrounded by light and laughter, we kissed, fiercely, joyfully, our whole world folding into that single moment. The wedding day came fast. It was grand, lavish yet personal. Every detail followed my taste. The flowers, the lights, even the lace patterns on my gown. William had commissioned a designer to rebuild the wedding dress exactly the way I wanted it. There was nothing imperfect about that day, nothing, until the moment we were about to exchange rings. The doors burst open. Alex, bruised, pale, still recovering, staggered into the ceremony. "Evelyn, you can't marry him." The Harrisons erupted. Guards rushed forward as the patriarch slammed his hand on the table. "Have you lost your mind? It's your uncle's wedding day. If you don't leave right now, you're done as CEO." But Alex, for the first time in his life, didn't back down. "Then I quit," he shouted. "I don't want the company, I just want Evelyn." He looked at me, desperation twisting his face. "You might not believe me, but in another life you married me. We grew old together. That's how it was supposed to be. Everything's wrong now. If you just come back to me, I'll give you everything William can, no matter how long it takes." If I hadn't lived through it once already, maybe I would have believed him, but I had. I just stared at him, my voice calm but firm. "Alex, whatever you think doesn't matter anymore. Listen carefully. I'm only going to say this once. I love William. I will always love William from now on. I'll see you as what you are, my nephew, so please, show me the same respect when you see me. Call me Aunt Evelyn." Then I turned back to William and slid the ring onto his finger. And right there, in front of Alex, I pulled William close and kissed him, sealing my vow for life. Alex stood frozen, mouth open, unable to speak. His injuries tore open from the movement, and within moments he collapsed unconscious. Even after William and I officially married, Alex didn't stop. He left the Harrison group, swearing he'd build his own empire, that he'd one day defeat William and win me back. But without the family's resources, his talent alone wasn't enough. Every venture failed, one after another, until the Harrisons eventually stopped mentioning his name at all. Meanwhile, William shifted all his business focus back home. With his global connections and sharp instinct, he quickly outgrew the old families that had dominated the city for decades. Within a year, the Harrisons stood at the top again, this time because of him. One night, lying in bed, I turned to him and asked, "William, what if you hadn't married me in this life? What would you have done?" For the first time, something soft, almost fragile, passed through his eyes. "Eve," he said quietly, "let me tell you a story. 10 years ago, I came back for a debutante ball. One of the heiresses accidentally spilled red wine on a little girl's white dress. The girl sat there crying her heart out. It was her special day, after all." He smiled faintly at the memory. But instead of being angry, the hostess of the party ran off to get her paints and brushes. She knelt beside the girl and turned the stain into a beautiful rose. The girl stopped crying and he looked at me tenderly. I fell for the girl who drew that rose, bright, kind, and clever as she was. My eyes filled with tears. I remembered that day too. He brushed my cheek with his thumb, wiping them away. "So about your question," he said softly. "I've thought about it 1,000 times over the years. If I couldn't marry you, I would have stayed overseas, thrown myself into work, and given every contract, every opportunity I had, to the man lucky enough to have you, just to make sure you'd live happy and free." His words shattered something deep inside me and rebuilt it softer, stronger. It was never about me being lucky or blessed. It was him. William had always, in every lifetime, been the one protecting me in silence. I threw my arms around him, holding him as tightly as I could. "William," I whispered, "let's have Bobbies, and when they grow up, we'll make them all the little dresses and clothes they want." He smiled, kissed my hair, and pulled me close, as if he could fold me right into his soul.